If you look at iPhones over the past 7 years or so, you'll see that there has not been a lot of major changes on the interface side. Not only has there not been a lot of changes on the interface side, there also haven't really been a lot of major changes on the hardware side. And there lies the exact problem in the current stagnation of the Apple iPhone. While many other companies are innovating with folding phones and other cutting-edge tech, we are basically here today with the iPhone 15 Pro, which is extremely similar to devices that were released nearly 10 years back. So why has Apple gone down this path of complacency? Well, let's dive into it. When we go on the Samsung end, there are countless foldable phones on the market, with their newest ones being the Z Fold 4 and of course the Z Flip 4. When this tech first came out, it was a rocky start, but foldable phones are now a really impressive and reliable technology. But currently Apple has no clear plans to bring this to market, at least not that we've seen other than a few patents here and there. But why is this? When we dive into why Apple hasn't released a foldable phone, a lot of it has to do with the infancy of the technology and Apple's drive to have extremely reliable phones in their lineup. And the chance of a strong crease forming on the screen or other reliability issues like dust getting under the panel, this is something that doesn't fit in with the Apple mentality. If we look at this patent from Apple, we can see that they are starting to look at the concept of foldable devices, but I still think there's going to be a very long maturity curve before this hits the market, and I would say it could even be 5 years from now before the first Apple foldable device comes out, if we see it at all. So this is how far they've been pushing this AR, VR path. I feel like that might be more where they're going and allow the brick phone style to stay the same going forward. Like everything else at Apple, they go through very extensive prototype testing before they bring a device to the market, as, like I mentioned before, that reliability factor is the most important to them. The biggest concern, I think, overall is the elegance of a foldable device and how it's really hard to make a hinge that feels really nice to the touch, and that's a big part of Apple's philosophy as well. It's the feel of the device and the experience. I've tried a lot of foldable phones recently, namely one of the Pixel foldables, and that hinge design is something that I feel like is one of the best things you could possibly fidget with. It's unbelievable. So I feel that part of the industry is really starting to get refined at this point. There's even been a lot of talk about them sort of forgetting foldable phones altogether and making a foldable tablet, which might make a lot more sense since there will be less fold cycles in a tablet setting than on a phone where you're going to constantly open and close it. And it could make for a huge device. I mean, truly huge. If we have a tablet the size of the current iPad Pro that folds, you now have like a 32-inch cross-section on the screen, which is unbelievable to think about. Another key issue with foldable phones right now is overall they are extremely expensive. And although a lot of iPhones are getting up there, it's easy to imagine an iPhone foldable being nearly $2,500, which I feel like is just getting into a really ridiculous price territory that a lot of people just aren't willing to consider, and that makes sense. But again, if we pivot back to iPhones, and we look at the design of the devices all the way back to the iPhone X back in 2017, which feels like forever ago at this point, nothing, and I mean nothing, changed all the way until we hit the iPhone 14, which was, wait for it, 5 years of the exact same design. It's honestly amazing that they continued to hit the sales figure they did when the only notable upgrade was processing speed and a slightly better camera year to year, because the screen technology didn't change all that much. Again, the pixels per inch isn't going to change a ton on a device this small. The OLED technology isn't going to change much in the span of 5 years. So again, we arrive here today with the iPhone 15, which compared to my iPhone 14 is the identical device. There's literally no reason to even fathom an upgrade. And I'm not saying you should be upgrading every year, but even all the way back to like the iPhone 12, the experience is still the same. You may as well just pop a new battery into it. And I think that's the issue with iPhone stagnation. Things just aren't changing at a speed that customers want. And I think Apple is going to have to stop this path of complacency, or people are really going to start considering a lot of their competitors. There's only so strong the ecosystem can hold onto a consumer if there's nothing changing about the device and other companies are making really, really compelling offerings. But anyway, like always, time will tell. Hope you all liked this video, and if you did, please do like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. Look forward to seeing you all in the next one. I'll see ya.